Now that Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II has passed away, the royal family must abide by strict instructions for the next 10 days and on till the funeral. These plans were called Operation London Bridge. Here are your top 10 strict rules the royal family has to follow now that the Queen has passed away. In our number 10 spot, we have Operation London Bridge. Right away on the day of the Queen's passing, Operation London Bridge was to come into effect. Prime Minister Liz Truss would have received the news of Her Majesty's passing right away, and she would have been one of the first people to have been told. This message would have been delivered by the Queen's private secretary. The civil servants would have been notified next, and the media outlets, starting with the royal social media platforms. The flags would then be moved to half-mast. Then the Ministry of Defense would do a gun salute, and a minute of silence would be taken around the country. The royal family zoomed into Balmoral to see the Queen just before she passed, and were there by her side as she left us. The British people observed a double rainbow over Buckingham Palace that day. If you're enjoying this video so far, please give us a thumbs up as it'll really help us out. In our number 9 spot, we have King Charles's first step. The day after the Queen passed, right away it was instructed that Prince Charles will be sworn in as the new sovereign by the Accession Council. This means that he will be proclaimed king until his coronation or until he decides to step down and give the throne to his eldest son, Prince William. If all goes well, this should happen the morning after the Queen's death at 10 a.m. His title will change to King Charles III. In our number 8 spot, we have the Accession Council and further title changes. The second part of the Accession Council is attended by the king and other senior royals. For the first time in history, we will get to see this centuries-old ritual because it will be broadcasted live. So cool. Most of us alive today wouldn't have been around or old enough to have witnessed the Queen's coronation, so this is very exciting. Prince William, the next in line to the throne after King Charles, will be given the new title of Duke of Cornwall, and Kate will become Duchess of Cornwall, replacing Camilla, who technically becomes Queen, but she will be given the title of Queen Consort, a wish made by Queen Elizabeth before she passed. His title will change to King Charles III. This day has also since passed, and I must say I'm actually surprised that King Charles didn't decide to pass the crown on to his son. I think a lot of the British people expected him to, but in any case, Prince William will eventually have his day as king. Following the Accession Council, the king will return to Buckingham Palace to meet with the senior politicians and church leaders. In our number 7 spot, we have Operation Unicorn. Since the Queen passed away at Balmoral, the family has strict instructions upon returning her to Buckingham Palace. This is called Operation Unicorn. Operation Unicorn will be activated, and it will mean that the Queen's coffin will be transported to London via royal train. If Operation Unicorn fails, then a new operation takes effect, and that is Operation Overstudy. This is a strict instruction for the coffin to then be transported by plane. The Prime Minister and ministers will welcome the coffin upon arrival at Buckingham Palace. In our number 6 spot, we have D-Day plus 3. D-Day represents Death Day, so about 3 days after the Death Day, Charles will receive the motion of condolence at Westminster Hall, and then he will begin his tour of the United Kingdom as the new king. He has been instructed to attend a service in Northern Ireland at St. Anne's Cathedral in Belfast. In our number 5 spot, we have the rehearsal plus D-Day plus 5. While King Charles III is on his tour, a rehearsal for Operation Lion will be taking place. Operation Lion is when the Queen's coffin will be carried from Buckingham Palace to the Palace of Westminster. This will be around D-Day plus 5. When the coffin arrives, a service will be held in Westminster Hall. In our number 4 spot, we have D-Day plus 6 to D-Day plus 9. Operation Feather is now going to be in effect. Such interesting titles. I wonder if the Queen chose them herself. When I die, I'm gonna leave strict instructions for my loved ones and call it Operation Magical Fairy. Instead of taking my coffin on a tour, I shall instruct my family to go on a tour around the world with my ashes. I better start saving though, so they can do that. They definitely don't have a royal budget to complete this wish. Anyways, back to Operation Feather. It states that for the next 3 days, the coffin will stay at Westminster and the Queen will lie in state, so visitors can come to pay their respects. The coffin will be placed on a raised box and will be available for 23 hours a day for those 3 days. I would have thought that it would only have been for select people such as friends, family, and politicians, but apparently anyone can visit. There is expected to be about 10,000 plus people, so I would leave now to line up. I bet you the line is going to be insane, like standing in Times Square on New Year's. There probably won't be anywhere to move. I wish I lived in England. I would definitely have gone to pay my respects. The public will be able to pay their respects as of September 14th, 2022. In our number 3 spot, we have more traveling for King Charles. King Charles is expected to travel to Wales during this time to receive a third motion of condolence at the Welsh Parliament. This is projected to happen around D-Day +7. The King will also attend a service at Llandaff Cathedral in Cardiff. Also during this time, the rehearsals for the funeral will be taken place. On the morning of September the 19th, 2022. In our number 2 spot, we have the funeral. The funeral for Queen Elizabeth II will be held at Westminster Abbey. Processions will take place in London and Windsor, and a committal service will take place at St. George's Chapel at Windsor Castle. The Queen is to be buried in the castle's King George VI Memorial Chapel. There will be a 2-minute silence at midday in the country. Before she passed, the Queen agreed that her funeral day would be a day of national mourning, and so it effectively became a bank holiday. Apparently though, if the funeral falls on a weekday, the government does not plan to order businesses to let their employees have a day off. The businesses can individually decide on this though. In our number 1 spot, we have mourning plus the King's official coronation. Following the funeral, the country will go into a period of mourning. Even though King Charles would have automatically become king when the Queen passed, his official coronation will not take place for some time. It is predicted to be months later or as late as a year after. Queen Elizabeth had her coronation more than a year after she had been ruling. The delay is most likely due to the fact that there will be an enormous amount of planning for the event that will need to take place. The ceremony will most likely take place at Westminster Abbey, as it has done for the last 900 years. It will be done most likely by the Archbishop of Canterbury, as it has been done since year 1066. I'm Melissa Melotti, your host. You can follow me on Insta or YouTube at Melissa Melotti, and I hope that you have a good day, sir.